There's something going on with Kanye right now. Everybody was talking about this Ondo, and Kanye destroyed it. On the pillars, he wrote some stuff. I mean, it was crazy. And then I saw the headlines where he dropped it from 54 to 39, and it was once for sale for 75 million. Kanye bought it for 57. I said, oh man, he needs some cash. I reached out to Jason. I said, hey, my offer is going to be considerably less. Jason's like, just throw in an offer, man. It doesn't matter. He's liquidating a whole bunch of assets. Just throw in an offer. I said, okay, I'm going to throw in an offer. So that offer was 21 million. And he was like, there's no way. There's no way. And this contract was slid in there. And
welcome and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors, where millionaires are made. Today we have Bo Belmont with Belwood Investments, and Bo flew in from Huntington Beach to talk about his secret to managing $157 million in assets. Now, guys, I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on this show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you'll take consistent action, you will become one. Guys, if you're already a millionaire, we want to recognize you here. Please scan that QR code on the screen. And if you want more help becoming a millionaire, you can also scan that same QR code as well. And before we jump in, if you're here to learn how real entrepreneurs are building real empires, hit that subscribe button, because every week we're dropping lessons that can help you create your first or next million. And guys, right now you have 100,000, 250,000, or even more sitting in your CRM, and you can resurrect all your old and dead leads with our objection-proof AI calling agent. Text CASH to 33777 now to unlock the money that's hanging out in your CRM. That's CASH 33777. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So thanks for jumping on. We just met not that long ago at LA Tech Week, right? And I heard some crazy stories, like flipping Kanye West's properties. So I want to talk about that. But before we get into all that,
sure.
What was your life like before you got into real estate?
Before real estate.
Before real estate.
So before real estate was, high school and college. Mm-hmm. And then it was mostly, I thought I was going to go pro NFL. That was like my dream.
For sure.
And of course, like most,
yeah.
young men. But that wasn't in my cards. Mm-hmm. So I was at junior college, and then I was offered a job at a place called AmeriQuest Mortgage.
AmeriQuest.
Yeah, AmeriQuest.
I think they were huge.
They were huge. Yeah, they were huge. Yeah, subprime lender. Mm-hmm. And it was the Wild West back then, and I was in my early 20s mm-hmm. and making $30,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And I said, NFL, what? I was sold, right? Yeah. So I got into real estate at the age of 20 and started selling subprime loans.
Before you even graduated college.
Yes, exactly. Well, I actually stopped. I put a pause on college and went full-time mortgage industry.
$30,000 a month at 20 years old.
Oh, it was a no-brainer at the time. Yeah, right. There was no other alternative. Yeah.
So this is when everyone was just making crazy money. So this is like 06, 05?
Yeah, this was before then. This was 2003, 4, 5, yeah, 6. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, so it was easy.
It was easy money.
Life was easy, right? And it's just a happy ending right there.
Yeah. It was perfect. Yeah, I was doing tremendous deals. I mean, we would do something called a 105.5. We were making 5.5 points on a loan, and bring in somebody.
105.5.
Yeah, we would 105.5 them, and that was what we phrased it at AmeriQuest. So you would get 5.5 points on a deal, and it's a $500,000 deal. You're bringing in $25,000. You're making a split of that and doing 10, 15 deals a month, and yeah, it was easy money.
Basically half a house.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
you're getting half a house worth of revenue, not to your bottom line, but to the company. Half a house every month you were producing.
Oh yeah, our portfolio was doing $500 million a month.
Yeah.
And just dropping people from 9% to 7.25%, maybe high 6s, but it was all dropping from 9 to 7s, and they were happy getting cash out, neg-ams, that was the cream of the crop.
Neg-ams?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to elaborate what that is?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
we did neg-ams for, probably about 3 years, and we would have, that was our biggest return right there. It was the neg-ams.
Yeah. So, but it's a negative amortization.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the listeners?
So we also called it the option arm, which was
much more palatable.
Yeah, exactly. So neg am is negative amortization. So amortization is the death of the mortgage, right? You're paying it off over time. Now negative am is where it's not dying, it's actually growing. So that loan is getting larger than getting smaller. And that would happen because there would be options of payments. You would have a 1% option payment, then you would have an interest only, and then you would have your actual PITI interest or payment. And so, your middle payment wouldn't move the needle. Your third payment would actually drop it a little bit. You'd pay some interest or, principal and interest. And then your 1% neg am option, which was what everybody decided to pay, would be, let's say your mortgage payment was $2,500, but you had this 1% payment option, and now it was $1,500. Where does that extra $1,000 go? Well, it gets added onto your loan. And so, and we would have to disclose this. People would ignore it, and they would call back and say, well, my mortgage just went from $350 to $400 in a year. Why? And, now my home isn't worth this much and I owe more. And that's, that's kind of what caused a bit of the downfall.
I remember when those loans were becoming popular, option arms. And we didn't have ChatGPT at this time, right?
No.
We had Google, but even then, it wasn't even that great. And we were just looking at these things. I was like, why is anyone buying a house with an option arm, right? It was insane. And of course, what we thought would happen with those happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, for like a business owner and they have a slow month, and they're fiscally responsible, then it did make sense, right? If you had, low sales, then you can take that 1% option and make up for it with the following months.
The stated income people, it made sense.
Yep. Stated doc.
If you were actually self-employed.
Yeah.
Not so much for the W-2 employee.
No, that stated doc got a lot of people in trouble too.
Yeah.
You're working at Taco Bell saying that you make $500,000 a year and the underwriters are putting those through. And, we had appraisers, just overvaluing everything. I mean, it was the Wild West. People were just kind of doing what they wanted to. There wasn't a tremendous amount of oversight. But now there is, right?
Now a lot of oversight.
Now there is. There's a lot of red tape.
Excessive oversight, probably.
Exactly.
So, all right. So you're partying it up, doing really well.
Yeah.
And then the music stops.
Dead silent.
So what happens then?
Yeah. So I had a friend of mine, Dan. He was actually my neighbor, and he was doing something called flipping homes. And actually, he wasn't calling it flipping homes. He was buying and selling distressed real estate, REOs at the time, because now there were plenty of them. And so he was going in and fixing them and selling them, even in a downturn market. He was turning these things. I was interested because I always had a bit of an interest in real estate, construction and architecture. And so this was a way for me to not leave the industry, because subprime lending was a bad word at that time. Nobody was doing subprime lending, so I needed to pivot. And so Dan kind of took me under his wing, took me to a couple job sites and showed me what he was doing. And it was relatively simple stuff. I mean, if these contractors whom, I grew up with, tons of them, in school, and they were no smarter than I and didn't have any special abilities to do this construction work. So I'm like, well, they do it all the time. Why couldn't I do this? Why can't I figure out, what's the secret sauce in construction? And there is none. It's very simple stuff. As long as you have the right tools and, read the right book and have the right mentor, you can get it done.
Yeah.
So I took his, advice and I ended up buying an REO. I had saved up some cash.
Well, before we get into that,
Sure.
There was it wasn't, I imagine, as simple as just switching gears. Like, all right, I no longer do subprime. I now flip houses. Like,
yeah,
there must have been like a holy crap moment.
Oh, yeah. When every bank I worked with was going out of business and every title company was going out of business, there was a lot of red flags there. And so I was able to kind of just pivot from doing subprime loans to loan mods. I did those for a very short period of time. And while I was doing loan mods, which wasn't very fruitful, that was kind of a shaky industry right there.
Bang your head against the wall.
Oh, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But it was during that time of pivoting that I was incorporating the learning aspect of flipping homes. And
so you didn't have like this kind of like crash moment. Like you saw this, like, all right, we're changing directions.
Oh, I had to. Yeah. I mean, the thing was, we were seeing that some of our wholesale lenders were dropping off. Greenpoint, ABC, everybody was dropping off. And we all knew that it was only a certain period of time before we were next.
Yeah.
So we were able to, kind of plan. You just didn't just wait until you got kicked off the ledge.
I mean, I think most people did, unfortunately.
Well, and that's not me. I was concerned about my next paycheck. So it was when they shut our doors, I had already identified working with a loan mod company. And so I had immediately stepped over there and started doing loan mods and, closed a few deals. But in the meantime, I was learning about flipping houses. I was learning about the construction.
So it was a very quick pivot for you.
It was. I didn't just sit on my couch, rolling my thumbs, figuring out, what's next.
Yeah.
I had to make moves.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
All right. So then you figure out the REO, or so you got some money in the bank.
I did have some money left over.
And now you start buying, and you buy your first REO.
Yeah.
So what'd you do then?
So I actually did all the work myself. So
like literally
you
did the work.
Physically did all the work. Okay. There was one thing that I didn't do. I didn't fabricate the granite. Okay. But I did the flooring. I did the paint. I did electrical. I did the stucco. And I started incorporating some friends, that were contractors and getting their advice. And they did help me out occasionally. But this is something that I needed to learn myself.
Was it like quality work?
It passed all the inspections and it sold relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, when I flipped on the lights, it did buzz a little bit inside that home.
Well, I'm just asking because, I know myself, if I were to go flip, even today with what I know, I would probably still die. Like, I would either get electrocuted or...
Oh, I got it electrocuted for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just part of the process. But what I needed to identify was the cost and time associated with each trade. Because with contractors, as you know, you'll get a bid for $5,000 and then doing the same job, you'll get a bid for $50,000. And you're like, where is the truth here? And these contractors, there's no set rules on how much they can charge. Yeah. And so I needed to identify the time and resources associated with everything, with installing cabinetry. How much were the cabinets? What was involved, right? The whole what's behind the wall, right? You get a contractor in there, oh, well, we opened up the wall and we found, now I was like, hey, there's not anything back there other than a copper or PEX
piping. Are you saying that's like a lie?
No, they're so honest. I mean, I've never met such an honest
I have
group of
fallen
people.
for that one. I have fallen for the, hey, we opened up the wall and there's some things here. I was like, I don't want to hear about it. Just fix it.
Well, the thing is, now I know what's behind that wall, right? There's some Romex, there might be some PEX or some copper piping or whatever, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes because I've done it so many times, over 2,500 transactions now. But before, I needed to learn. And so I did. And it wasn't like I learned everything within the first 3 houses, because that's what I did is I physically was hands-on the first 3, and then I started hiring out and getting a team to do it.
Yeah.
But then I just knew what to expect. I knew how much they should be charging me. I was able to calculate, okay, you're going to spend 10 hours on this, but you're charging me $3,000. Like, tell me where you're worth $300 an hour or more, and because the materials are $50.
Yeah.
Like, you're an attorney here. Like, where is this cost coming from? And so then I was able to negotiate, which is one of my strong suits, not only in acquisitions, but working with contractors and reasoning with their pricing. That was probably the most important aspect of learning.
Okay. So 2,500 houses.
Yeah.
But the first 3 you did on your own.
Did 90% of it on my own. There were some things I wasn't able to do, like the granite fabrication. I just, I tried to do it. My seams were awful.
And so you did try it.
I did try, yeah. But then I quickly, I ruined one slab and I said, all right, we got to get somebody else in here.
All right. So then how long did you continue down this road where you're exclusively flipping?
Oh, I think after the first flip, I made $175,000, and I said, in a downturn market,
$175,000
on that one property
on your first flip,
on my first
in
flip.
a bad market.
Yeah,
that's pretty remarkable.
It was great. Yeah. So
what do you attribute that to?
Buying at the right price, right? Because literally, this was in the same neighborhood that I was doing loans on these homes for over $500,000, and here this house was for sale for $130,000. So I was able to buy renovate and sell this for far under what these homes were selling for previous to the downturn. So people were saying, oh, well, I'm getting a good deal on a home that's already done. So even the market was declining and it was in a recession and there was tons of REOs, people were still able to see the value associated with buying this fully renovated home under what the market was calling for just months before.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. When did you add an adjustment to your strategy, or like how many years or houses were you just flipping and not doing anything else?
So that's all I did. I mean, literally, I flipped my first house, and that's all I was focused on was creating relationships, maintaining relationships, and starting to flip homes.
So I guess where I'm going with this is that you use a different mechanism.
Oh yeah,
for lending.
Oh yeah. So this is what happened. I started getting the attention of friends, right? Because real estate investing and flipping homes is, everybody likes it. That's why there's 50 different HGTV channels showing people something that they can't afford to do, right? But yet people still watch it. People still are engaged in this. This is popular.
Everyone's a real estate expert.
Everybody is, but not many people participate in it, right? It's just too expensive. So my friends, when I started doing this, they said, Bo, what are you doing? Like, this is amazing. This is awesome. Okay. I said, all right, well, if you want to do it, quit your job, cash in your 401k, roll the dice, and let's see how you do. And they're like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm a doctor. I'm an attorney. I'm, auto mechanic. I have to do this. I have to maintain this income for my family, so on and so forth. But I would love to do this. And I said, okay, well, how about you do it with me? At the time, I was getting hard money loans for like half the purchase price. I was having to come up with the other half, plus the construction and so on and so forth. I said, you come in with that cash. I'll come in with the first half of the house. I'll handle everything. I've learned how to do it. I have the special sauce here. Let's do it together. And they agreed, and we did it several together. And pretty soon I had more friends, and they were making more money. And now I have 6,000 friends, right? And I needed to implement some technology behind this because pretty soon, after, let's say 100 friends, wanting to participate, they're asking me, what's the status of the house? What's next? When's it going to be listed? And I had all of the answers, but I was spending most of my time answering emails rather than being on the job sites or looking for inventory. So I had to create some sort of technology to keep everybody on par, everybody up to speed on everything that's going on. So I created an app that showcased some of our flip opportunities for my friends to participate in. So it would be showcased on the app. They would have the opportunity to say, hey, Bo, I want to invest in this property. They would list how much they want to invest, and we would flip the home together. Now, this was before I started fractionalizing it with many people.
So the app came first before finding other ways to creatively fund your deals.
So the app, the app came after because it wasn't functional to operate with all of these investors.
So then let's talk about when you realized there was another way to fund your deals, right? So you start off with friends and family.
Yep.
Right. They're funding half of it is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
What were the terms you were negotiating or offering at that time? Hey, you fund half my deal.
You get half the profit. 50-50. It was
straight 50-50.
Straight.
Extremely
hey,
generous.
all the bills were paid. I take half, you take half, and that was it.
But they were funding half of it.
They were funding half of it.
They were getting half the profit. You're very generous.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, and that's what became so attractive. And we continued that model, even though the hard money loan I was getting became more like 80%. They're funding 80% of the project cost, then 90%. Yet my relationship with the investor stayed 50-50. And I called this a hyper leverage, where we're utilizing institutional funds to cover the majority of the cost. Yet my relationship with the investor stayed the same, because really, for me, it wasn't an adjustment in costs. It was actually saving me money, but I was still making 50%, and they now were coming to the table with less, but still making 50%. We called this the B52 method, where Belwood makes 50% of the profit, or Belwood's investors make 50% of the profit, yet they're only coming in with 20% of the cost. Because I'm getting 80% LTC from the bank, right? So that remaining 20% my investor would come in with, yet still getting 50% of the profit. And it was that leverage that gave us the higher than normal or average ROI, 25%, 50%, 60%, 100%.
So by this point, you're no longer coming up with the 50%.
Yeah. The lender's coming in with 80%.
So they're coming with a 20%. The hard money lender
comes in with 80%.
And then everyone's taking care of the money side, but you still split everything 50-50.
Yes.
So at least now your money's off the table.
Yes.
So still very generous. I don't know a lot of people that offer those terms.
It is very generous. And sometimes, a project will go over, time frame or go over budget. Because we give 50% and we take 50%, we're actually able to shift that in the investor's favor. So if we do go over time and budget, we could say, well, now our investors are going to take home 70%, we're going to take home 30%. Our whole goal here is to empower the investor and create a model for them to win. Because you don't have a very successful real estate investment company, especially one that's new and fractional like we do, if your investors are losing.
Oh, of course.
So that's what we wanted to do. It's our number one goal is for the investor to win.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at this like, this is above and beyond, right? Like, I think, because when I was early on in my career, I did have to use friends and family, right? Money. And it was 50-50. Right. But over time, I was like, hey, look, like I'm finding the property. I'm dealing with the contractors, right? I'm marketing the property. Like I'm the realtor listing these properties.
Yeah.
Right. So not only did I find it, negotiate it, but I took care of it and then I listed it. And for all that, I'm keeping 70, you're keeping 30. And that's kind of where we were until later on, I just got someone to fund 100% of the deal and even better terms for myself, right?
Yeah,
Not for the investors. And so I went with the private money route where they were just funding everything in extremely favorable terms, and they were good, making 10% interest.
Sure.
Right? Your complete opposite end is like, how can I help you make as much as possible? And I'm guessing for you, this is a volume play.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
We're trying to democratize real estate investments. We want Belwood to be the number one platform in the world for people to invest in real estate. That's it. Not just Bo to become rich and be on a boat in the Bahamas and sail off into the sunset. No.
Bo on a boat does sound good though.
That does sound great. And that is a part of the plan. But the plan along the way is to democratize this. So it's ubiquitous when it comes to real estate investments. When people are looking up values, Zillow the home, when you're trying to make copies of a paper, get it Xeroxed, right? When it comes to investing in real estate, that's a Belwood home. We should put that in Belwood, right? When you're identifying inventory for us, because we have another aspect to our app, which is allowing people to find property, put it on the app, we skip trace, find the owner, they make money for finding it. But not only that, let's just say they're in their neighborhood and the neighbor down the way, their home is in disrepair. Neighbors can identify that, that's a Belwood home. Let's, as a community, get together, put it on the Belwood app, renovate that home, all participate in that ROI and improve the community at the same time.
So you're trying to turn your company name to a verb.
Yes.
And I love that. That's an awesome vision.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're flipping houses. Along the way, how many houses were you flipping at a point?
Hey, my name is Brian. I'm a real estate investor. Ian's sales training has helped me buy more houses at a deeper discount. Most recently, Ian helped me reframe a question which resulted in me buying a house for less money than other offers the seller had on the table. If you're considering sales training, I don't think you can go wrong with Ian's.
If you like what you just heard and would like similar types of success, text CLOSE to 33777. And we'll see if you qualify to join objection-proof selling. We're taking good sales reps and we're making them objection-proof.
Jeez. A highest point. So in 2022, we were flipping about 75 at a time.
75 houses
At a time.
at a time.
Yeah.
freaking lot of houses.
It's so much.
Yeah.
It's so much.
And across what
Across the U.S., 13 states.
13 states.
Yeah, we're international now. We're in Greece as well. So we've proven that we can take this across state lines. We can take it, out of the country. It's international. And we found that we have plenty of investors from Australia, the UK, Italy. And they all love real estate. Some want to invest in Beverly Hills, and they may be in the UK. And people in Beverly Hills want to invest in Greece, right? So there's no borders.
75 houses at a time.
Yes.
How in the world do you manage that, particularly across multiple state lines?
Well, I did have a full head of hair before I started this. Okay, so what we do is we call on contractors in that area. So we're partnered with Home Depot, and we've had this relationship for a long time, where we're able to use their contractors. Okay, so when you go to Home Depot and they say, well, we'll install your flooring, we'll install your HVAC, we'll do all of these things, they're using local vetted contractors. So what we have access to are those contractors. So we can, create a relationship, establish, a system with them, and it actually can be financed through Home Depot. We've stepped back from that because there's a little bit of a price tag adjustment with when you stamp Home Depot's name on there.
Sure.
But we still have access to those contractors. So wherever you see Home Depot, we have access to those folks. Now, they have their own set of management that they, use, right? They're managing subs. They're managing the everybody associated with flipping that home. So it's not really us that have to manage every step of that property. What we created is GC management. So we use different CRMs and Builder Trend and whatnot to manage the contractors, not necessarily manage the subs. So that's a lot easier to manage than just, did we get the drywall guy in there? Did they do their job right? Are we ordering all the materials, right? That just becomes too much.
Yeah.
So it's the management of the GCs that allows us to scale and do a lot of homes at once.
Does Home Depot then source the general contractor?
Yep.
And then they've got to manage their own subs.
Yeah, the GC manages their own subs.
So, but you're finding the GCs from Home Depot.
Either through Home Depot or, some of our other resources. We work with realtors, tons of realtors nationwide. And so we'll be able to call on them. Hey, who's a good GC in this area? I mean, they're not hard to find. We have a vetting process, but at the end of the day, it's managing GCs rather than we're not a construction company. We don't want to be a construction company. We would just much rather identify opportunities and manage the GCs.
So then you're saying not hard to find the GCs, and then you have a vetting process. What is the vetting process?
So making sure that they're above board, right? All of their license and bonding and everything like that. And then we also reach out to realtors who have worked with them in the past. So if they're doing new construction, we're asking the realtors, hey, do you guys have buyers of these homes reaching back out to you? Is there, lawsuits filed against these people? I mean, it's not like recreating the wheel. It's a basic vetting process just to make sure that they're.
That might be
they're
basic
above board.
for you.
Yeah.
Because you hear nightmare stories all the time of people getting taken advantage of.
Oh, absolutely. That's
contractors.
part of the reason why I needed to learn what it took to build a home in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm able to teach our construction management, or was able to teach our construction management, and now they know it well, the costs associated with different jobs. And so we'll give this out to 15 different contractors, one job, and let them bid it, right? Now, these are all vetted contractors that have shown that they're licensed and bonded and insured, but each one is going to have a different price. So we'll send it out to them, just same way that we send out our properties to different lenders to see who's going to give us the best rate. We do that with contractors as well.
Yeah, got it. And then you were saying that they're not hard to find. So then I think that a lot of people, when they're starting to flip, they are hard to find, at least how to find one that's vetted.
Yeah. So again, call on your local realtors, the people that are selling these fix and flip homes, because it's easy to go online and identify a fix and flip. Okay. So go online, look at a property that's in a mature neighborhood that looks brand new. Okay, it's obviously not a brand new home,
Right.
but it's fully renovated. Call on that realtor and say, hey, I love the renovation. Who's the contractor that did this work? Because I'm thinking about buying a property in this area. I would love your help, by the way, because realtors don't just give up information freely. They want something in return. So if you're able to put that carrot out in front of them and say, hey, maybe you can help me find houses, but in the meantime, I'm also looking for contractors. Now, realtors are so resourceful. You know, in the day and age where everybody's trying to circumvent the realtor, we call on them for their resources.
Yeah.
So, and that is identifying contractors that they've worked with. So they'll say, oh yeah, this was so-and-so. They do a bunch of flips in the area. I've worked with them for many years. Great. We would like their information, and you find the house, they'll do the work, and we'll create this great relationship.
Right.
So that's it. Find a mature neighborhood, homes built in the 20s through the 90s, anything over the 90s, early. Well, I'm kind of dating myself right now. So I would say before, when I started flipping homes, anything in the 90s, I would say that's too new, right? That's not ready to be flipped. Now in the 90s, that's a 30-year-old home almost.
Right.
So anything, in these communities, Lennar or KB, built, post 2000, that's not really a flipping neighborhood quite yet. But anything 90s and less, go into these neighborhoods, identify the homes that look perfect, that look really well done, and then call on those realtors for their resources. And don't recreate the wheel, right? There's people that are flipping homes. We're not the only ones. There's people that have perfected the art or do really well. We want to call on their resources. We want to see what they're doing right. And the source to do that is by going through that realtor.
Got it. Another thing you're talking about is you basically became GC management or GC managing organization.
Yeah.
What is entailed in managing GC? Because again, that many houses, that many states, international now. There's got to be some processes that you figure out along the way as best practices in managing GCs.
Yeah. So it's all about accountability. And so we have our app that also showcases our investors the progress of the home. So they have to send in videos, they have to send in pictures, they have to send in a summary of what's been going on. We also geofence them too when they are on the job site, right? So we know if there's people there. We have cameras on the job site. We set up Ring cameras. So we know when people are there, we know what they're doing, we have everything. And then we also have our lenders who send out inspectors as well, right? Because we work in a draw fashion with some of these lenders. We do the work first, it's inspected by the bank, and then they'll reimburse us. So we have so many different eyes on these job sites to make sure that they're moving forward, not just us, but the lender. So it's accountability, it's video, camera, pictures, summary, geofence. It's all uploaded into our app. So once we verify all this information, then it goes right to the investor and they can see what's going on.
Well, how are you geofencing?
So we use it through our app. So they have to.
So all the contractors have to install the Belmont app.
Belwood app. Yeah.
Belwood app.
Yeah.
And then that is how we know they're actually on site.
On
working.
site. Yeah, exactly. Because I've been fooled before. Okay. We had a job site in North Carolina where we were getting great pictures, a lot of feedback, but it was of a different house. Right. And so, and our lender at the time wasn't doing inspections. He was just saying, send us pictures, send us videos, and we'll approve your draw. So we're going through it. We thought the house was done. Turned out.
Looked great.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. And then we had the realtor go out there to, pre-list. And he's like, what are you doing? This house is not even near ready to be done or to be listed. And we said, what are you talking about? We have all these great pictures. And the guy was a scam artist. And it took us for about $200,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For that property?
For that property.
One property.
All
right. So did you find the guy?
Yeah. I mean, he can't squeeze blood from a turnip. He was just a bad character. He ended up getting arrested and stuff, but just a lesson learned, a valuable lesson learned.
Yeah.
Expensive.
So is that when geofencing started?
Yeah, so that was you encounter these hurdles, right, and you have to find a way around them. You have to find a way to overcome, and so that was one thing. We're like, well, how do we know that they're there? And our app developers like, well, you can geofence them. And I'm like, what is this? You know, they're like, well, you know, it identifies where their phone is. You can put a fence around it. You can set the parameters. And if they leave, you're notified. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so
it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone use geofencing. I could just be behind the times, but I haven't heard anyone using geofencing to ensure work is being done. Like we have the photos, we got the videos, you got a guy driving by every day to make sure.
Yeah.
Geofencing is a new wrinkle, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to make sure they're there, right?
Yeah.
And not just hanging out, right? So we have the cameras ensuring that they're actually moving around doing the work, the pictures, the videos, and then that they're there, you know, that they're not leaving, seen by the camera and then leaving the job site, going to a different job site, you know, because that's a lot, you know, some other contractors, they'll do 3 or 4 projects at a time and they'll go show face, do a little bit of work and then go to their other job sites.
Yeah.
We want to ensure that they're spending all the time there.
Who is monitoring this activity in your company?
Construction managers.
Okay.
Yeah,
how many of those do you have?
Geez, right now we have about 6.
6. And they're kind of like watching the cameras, checking the notifications.
Yeah. So our field manager, you know, he has it on his phone. So he's constantly going through and making sure that people are on site and there's notifications. So we'll get notified if there's movement, right, at the job site, you know, what time that movement started. So we'll say, okay, great. You know, 7:59, there was movement at 18:55 Loma Vista. People are there. Okay. Eric, one of our field managers, will go online. Yep, people are there. Great. You know, yep, he's on job site, you know, and we can kind of gauge how many people are there, do our morning phone call with them, making sure that they have everything they need. But yeah, there's several layers of security there. I
imagine you've gotten really good in dealing with squatters then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's another thing. I mean, and that's just part of the business. We had one property in Sacramento. It was a lot of lessons learned. It was on the news, actually. It was called the debacle on Delma Way or something like that. But anyways, we finished construction, listed the home, sold it really quickly, closed on Friday. We moved all the staging stuff out on Saturday. Sunday, squatter moved in. Monday, buyer, new owner, came with their moving truck and said, what are you doing in our home? We just bought this. And the guy's like, what are you doing in my home? And so we immediately called the police. We're like, this is not the guy. He didn't buy the home. And he's like, well, I have this lease agreement here saying that it is mine. Had my signature on there and everything.
Your signature?
Yeah. I mean, you know, these guys are really creative. So he had a fake lease agreement. Anyways, there was a standoff. You know, the cops were like, you need to get out of there. And the guy's like, no. The guy had his child like hostage. It was crazy. All the way up until 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a helicopter, there was SWAT, everybody, they're like, you know, it's going down. And the captain came up to me and he goes, hey, Mr. Belmont, we're going to have to pull out of here because, you know, this guy's going to end up getting killed. This is a civil issue. I said, shoot him. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. And they're like, no, we can't. You know, I know you like that. I'm like, I'm Christian. I wouldn't like him to be killed. But anyways, shoot him in the knee, right? Get him out of there. But they said, it's a civil issue now, Bo. You cannot, you're going to have to handle this through the courts, through an eviction process because we just can't do anything. We tried our best. And so then I was stuck with a tenant whom I had never met.
Was it your tenant or their tenant?
No, it's my tenant now. The new owner had their loan rescinded and backed out.
They undid the sale.
They undid the sale. They called their lender and said, we can't buy this home. Somebody else moved in. So it was all reversed. I was stuck.
I've heard of that happening before.
It happened. Yeah.
But when it had to do with fraud.
Yeah, no, it happened. Yeah, no, it definitely happened.
Okay, so this is your tenant now.
So now it's my tenant. And so I had to serve them a 3-day pay or quit, then a 30-day eviction notice, right? And I had to literally treat this guy as if he was my tenant and abide by certain laws. This is broken. Oh, the HVAC isn't working. It's so hot in here. This guy was taking it the full stretch. He was my real tenant. And
the nerve, freaking nerve.
Oh my gosh. I was fuming, right? And in any event, obviously this guy's unstable. He ended up running over the neighbor in his vehicle, got in a dispute and hit the neighbor. the neighbor was fine, thank God, but he got arrested. And we were told by the other neighbor, hey, the guy's out of there, because we told all the neighbors what was going on. Everybody knew, right? There was a whole standoff.
Yeah, the helicopter was probably a big clue.
That was a giveaway right there. So they called me and said, Bo, he's out of there. We rushed down there just in time to keep his dad from entering. His dad was part of this scheme too. They do this. They would bounce from house to house doing this fake lease agreement. So the dad showed up while we're dumping the stuff out of his house. He's like, you can't dump all that stuff. We're like, you can pick it up at the landfill. We dumped everything in the truck. I mean, this guy fully moved in. Pictures on the wall. I mean, everything. He really trashed the house. But we got it all out of there. We called the police, had the dad removed, from trying to enter the home, called the old buyer back. So we got it back. You want to move in? The guy's like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. We've moved on. Repaired the home, got it back on the market, and ended up selling it. Mm-hmm. But it was, this was during COVID. This was in the street. The home address was on 2020 Delma Way. Mm-hmm. And that was such a crazy year. I should have known before I bought that house. It was 2020. I'm like, there are too many red flags here. Yeah. But it was a learning experience.
Well, what did you learn? Like, what did you modify in your process? Yeah, so I have cameras. Always cameras. You didn't have cameras prior to that?
I didn't have cameras in there.
So that was what brought cameras on.
That was the job sites. Yeah. Well, that brought cameras on for just security purposes, right? We had lock boxes on there. We kept everything tight, but now we needed to ensure that after construction, people still stayed away and didn't go in those homes. So we had that implemented, and that was smart. We didn't, now we don't ever go without cameras. Like, that is very important. But then on top of that, we actually have people stay in these houses. So, there's always a contractor who's willing to stay or has a worker that's willing to stay. Depends on the neighborhood, right? Some neighborhoods are better than others, but we'll have them stay. We'll pay them a little bit, and they'll be, if it's in a sketchy area of town, if it's not in the best area, we'll have that, some guy like stay in the driveway, and, so our appliances don't get stolen. I mean, we've had it all happen. I mean, it's been
So is this
rough.
the craziest story you've dealt with then?
As far as a squatter is concerned, no. I have had death on the job sites several times. So a neighbor, this one was in Corte Madera, and unfortunately, kind of a sad story. The neighbor was terminally ill, and older gentleman, and just couldn't take it anymore. And I actually had workers staying at the home because they were traveling to work on it, and they were doing miscellaneous things, and the gentleman from next door decided to take his own life, and so he went into our garage because he didn't want to do it over there at his house, and did it in our garage. And so the workers woke up to a gunshot.
Oh, because they were there.
They were inside the house. It was like 2:00 in the morning, right? And they were staying there. Another security, measure, I had them staying there, and it was twofold. They would stay there, get some work done, so it was built-in security. They woke up to a gunshot. They go out into the garage. They're scared as heck. Yeah. And there's a guy that's passed away in the garage. So police called, ambulance called, and so they pulled all the workers out of the house, brought them all down to the police station, interrogated them all. And they ended up getting released. And some of these guys, maybe their documentation wasn't. They were just so worried, right? I don't hire them directly, but there was some concern there. Yeah. And they were just so worried. And but the gentleman's wife came over and told the police, hey, he was terminally ill. That's his gun. He did this himself. And so they let everybody go and go back to the house. But the guys wouldn't stay there anymore. They're like, nope, we're done. Like they tried to do some like religious like ceremony, like, and they're some religious, Catholic guys, and they're just like, no, we can't stay here anymore. Yeah. Like, this is too much bad juju.
What's the craziest thing you caught on camera?
Ooh, caught on camera. Just, a lot of break-ins and drug use. We've had prostitutes use some of our properties. So Sacramento, we had a new construction, and dealing with red tape in the city and everything, we were going from septic to city, and it was just, this project was held up. In the meantime, this is not the most pleasant area of town. And so we would have, transients and prostitution show up, and they would go through the house, and we would have these cameras kind of hidden, right? So they couldn't just be torn down. And we caught some people working, so there was working, drug use, and that was always an interesting, video to see, not the most pleasant. Yeah.
So up to 75 at a time. At some point, it became challenging having one person, one lender for property.
Yes.
When did that occur?
So I've always liked competition, right? I want people to compete for my business.
15 contractors and like however many lenders, it sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we, present not only this offer to our investors, we present it to contractors and lenders, right? And everybody, the same way contractors all come up with different pricing, same thing with lenders. I might be getting a 10.5, and some other lender might be offering me 8 on a fix and flip. So it just depends on the relationship and what we've done with them in the past, right? So, and then some lenders really want our business, so they're willing to go above and beyond, and cut all their junk fees out, no points, and and so we want to explore all those options, right? And so we work with probably 20 different lenders, and we send it out to them, and he who comes in with the best pricing gets the deal. It's that competitive nature. That gets the deal.
But I'm talking about even just like the private lenders, right? The friends and family.
Oh yeah.
So at some point, it didn't make sense to have one person per deal.
Oh yeah. So we were getting so much attention, right? So one friend lent to 10 to 20 to 50. We had so many people wanting to flip homes, but we were only doing one property with one person. So we would have so many people on the sidelines saying, "When's your next property?" I'm like, "Well, we have 100 of you right now, probably in 3 years." Like, I can't tell you. And so I was like, "Well, what are we going to do about this?" And it just so happened to be, I was going into my escrow officer's office, and I saw a stack of files on her desk. And I said, "Hey, you're really busy. That's a lot of files." She goes, "Well, that's just one house or one apartment." And I said, "Why are there so many?" She goes, "Well, those are all different investors. Those are all different lenders." And I said, "They're all on the deal?" She goes, "Yeah, they all have a deed of trust. And there's 17 of them." I said, "There were 17 deeds of trust." She goes, "Yeah." I said, "How many can you have on a property?" She goes, "As many as you want. It's just going to cause me hell. It's going to be a lot of paperwork, but you can have as many as you want." I said, "So I could have a house and have 20 different investors on there, all secured with a deed of trust?" She goes, "Yeah, theoretically." I said, "Unlocked." So now I was able to take this 20% cost, right? That down payment, the lender's covering 80%, that 20% was somebody coming in with $100,000 or somebody coming in with $50,000. Now I was taking that $100,000 or $50,000 investment and then saying, "Hey, 10 people that have been sitting on the sideline, rather than one of you coming in with 50, how about each of you come in with 5, all 10 of you?" Now you all get to participate in this flip. You all get a deed of trust, and you don't have to stand on the sidelines anymore, and you get to participate.
Yeah.
And they loved it. It was now affordable. It was a security, right? They had that deed of trust. And
It's not security, right? It's secured.
it was secured, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to get in trouble with the SEC.
That's
right
not,
here.
mess around with the SEC.
Yeah, it was secured, right?
Yes.
So it was secured to the property. I meant security as well as far as like
Safety.
securing their investment, right? Yeah.
Safety and security. That's what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Just for clarification here. So they would get that instrument, right? And that made them feel good, right? Okay, now, this property can't be sold or traded without this being satisfied. So they were happy about that. Then I was able to just capture more folks, right? Now, instead of 100 people sitting on the sidelines, I had nobody sitting on the sidelines. I was able to implement this across our portfolio. So now we've gotten up to like 500 people on one property. The Kanye West house has almost 500 people invested in it.
So you got all these people, and you have to keep them all. When did you figure this out?
To fractionalize it? So when I literally had that paradigm shift, when I saw that stack of deeds.
When was this?
Oh, what year was this? This was 2021.
So after that, it was off to the races. Like every house
had multiple people on there, instead of just one. And it became affordable now because having $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 is a lot of money for anybody in the United States. So how is this fully going to become democratized when it calls for a $50,000 investment? Not everybody has that. I mean, that's like very few people. But there's a lot of people with $500 or $1,000 or $5,000. Now we've brought this to the masses.
Yeah.
And so that fell in line with my overall vision of Belwood to bring this to everybody, not just those with 50 grand in the bank account.
Yeah. So at which point then did this become a nightmare for you?
Well, it became a nightmare. So I deal with a lot of investors, and it's always the investors that have the smallest investment with the biggest voice, right? You know, if the project is taking longer or over budget or, you know, any multitude of things that can happen, especially in a market that's slow.
Yes.
You know, I'm getting a lot of pushback, you know, they're like, why isn't this home sold? I'm like, well, it's basically every home right now is going longer than, you know, I don't control the real estate market, you know, so it's frustrating right now with the market in its current condition. I had just an investor today who's rather animated, and it's like, you know, I want my money back and I want it this. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, we get our money back when we sell these properties. It's in the paperwork, it's in the guidelines, you know, it's not an ATM machine, and this is real estate. And they're an accredited investor, but they just can't wrap their head around a slow market. So, you know, this is part of the process of owning a real estate investment company or managing one. You're going to deal with investors that are a headache. You're going to deal with investors that understand market conditions. So it's just part of the animal, right? You know, it's like, it is what it is.
When did it become overwhelming to update everybody?
So when I started doing, you know, like 4 or 5 projects at once, you know, and it was just with one person. So I was doing 5, 6 houses at a time, and I would just have one investor on there. And they were constantly like asking good questions. It wasn't like they were pointless questions, you know, what's the status? What's the budget like? You know, can I go visit the house? All of these things. I started seeing myself answering more questions, and that were a similar question across the board. They wanted transparency. They wanted to see what was going on. So I was like, what's more transparent than pictures and videos, right? So they can physically see what's going on with the project. They can ask questions on the app. So it was when I started getting inundated with emails that I finally reached out to a friend of mine who is also an investor. I said, is there any way that I can create an app that automatically shows people what's going on with these properties so they don't just email me all the time? They can just log into this app and it shows them what's going on. And on top of that, when I have an opportunity, it goes on the app and they don't have to ask me all the time, Bo, when's the next house coming up? Bo, do you have any opportunity? No, it's on the app. There it is. You can offer on it. And by the way, once you do that, it gives you consistent updates. So that was like the inception of the Belwood Investor app, was me getting inundated in, you know, 2021, you know, with 2
Well, you're
minute
saying
calls.
with 6 properties with one investor, I'm thinking like 5 properties with 30 investors each. I would have definitely hit my breaking point.
Well, yeah. So, but I was hitting my breaking point with just 6. Like, I mean, I wasn't able to focus on anything else other than answering these people all the time. So then, you know, as we fractionalized it and got, you know, 10, 15 people on a property, then it just, you know, re-emphasized the need for the app and how quality it was to have that. Because now I didn't have to worry about even one investor reaching out to me all the time. All of their answers were already on the app. and nobody was reaching out to me. So it wasn't easy. It was actually really easy to scale having that implemented in adding more people to the app.
At which point do you say, hey, it'd be a good idea to flip Kanye's house? If you're a real estate investor with a sales team and you're stuck babysitting reps instead of growing your business, this is for you. Right now, your reps are burning through your expensive leads like they're practice dummies. They're making costly mistakes you won't catch for weeks, and 70% of your potential revenue is walking to competitors because of inconsistent follow-up. That's why over 130 operators are now using objectionproof.ai to automatically review every single call within minutes, train reps with AI roleplay sessions, and never miss another follow-up. Stop watching your competitors pull ahead while you're trapped doing manager work. Click the link in the description and book a call with my team to see how we can help you install a self-managing sales team this week.
I'm still asking myself that. So, one of the things that I identify are good opportunities. Okay. And one just fell off my plate. It was the Woolworth mansion in Manhattan. Michael Schvo got it, but I was in negotiations with it. But that was a really good one. That was at 1.90 million. My offer was 35. They were at 37. I thought we were going to be able to get it down to my 35 mark, but Michael Schvo came in there and stole it. But whatever, we can't win them all, right?
Right.
So I identified this property on the internet, right? Everybody was talking about this Ondo, and Kanye destroyed it, and I saw it on the market for sale, and I'm friends with Jason Oppenheim, so I'm like, here's an opportunity here. It was once for sale for $75 million by, his name was, he's a financier, Richard, I forget what his last name is, but he was sold it to Kanye, and it was once for sale for $75 million. Kanye bought it for 57. And then here I saw it on the market for $54 million. And I'm like, what's so important about this house? Like, why is it so expensive? Then I did some homework on who Ondo was. And then I saw the headlines where he dropped it from 54 to 39. I said, oh man, he needs some cash. There's something going on with Kanye right now. And at the time, he was having some financial difficulties. This
is what the whole Adidas thing backing out.
This was before then. I mean, this was actually right around that time, actually. He was dealing with some stuff. He was breaking up with Kim, and he was having difficulties with his new wife, Bianca. And so it was just, there was a lot going on in his world.
There was a phase where he went like really anti-Semitic.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And a lot of it was written in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the pillars, he wrote some stuff. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I saw one of the factors that we look at are drastic price reductions. Okay, it's one of the signals that we get when we want to offer on a home. When if it's for sale for 500 and they do a quick drop to 390, there's a need for cash there. It doesn't matter the size of the home. I mean, there's always a need. So he dropped from 54 to 39, and I said, what about the 40s? Like, why didn't you try 45? Like, you went from 54 to 39. You need some cash.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Jason. I said, hey, my offer is going to be considerably less than 39, but I think that there's some movement here. Something needs to happen. Jason's like, just throw in an offer, man. It doesn't matter. He's liquidating a whole bunch of assets. Just throw in an offer. I said, okay, I'm going to throw in an offer. So that offer was $21 million. And he was like, there's no way. There's no way. And
21. So 54, 39, 21.
21, yeah.
All right. Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, 75 initially, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I said, okay, well, it's going to be 21. He goes, well, he's liquidating a bunch of stuff. He's got a ton of contracts he's signing. Bianca's going to be signing on behalf of the LLC. We'll see what happens. He was in Italy. He was liquidating cars and jewelry and art and a whole bunch of stuff and real estate. And this contract was slid in there. And Bianca signed it on behalf of the LLC.
At 21.
At $21 million. And so we were all amazed. We're like, no way. I'm like, geez, I got to start, raising some capital here. And so, and it was a no-brainer, right? This is an Ondo. There's only one Ondo for sale in the world.
So let's explain what an Ondo is.
Yes.
Because I didn't know what it was till you educated me.
Yeah. So probably the most The most famous living architect today is a gentleman by the name of Tadao Ando from Japan. And what he creates is a brutalistic, very simple but strong structure. And they're all concrete. And just for reference, he was the designer or the architect behind Jay-Z and Beyonce's home that they bought from the Bell family for $200 million in Malibu. Tom Ford had an Ondo in New Mexico, and he sold that one for $40 million. If you're selling anything in New Mexico for $40 million, like that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's like the most that you can buy all the houses in New Mexico for that much.
Pretty much.
You know, to sell one property for that much and it being Ondo in New Mexico. So there's just a huge calling for his property in the art world. So it's not considered just a home. It's considered an art piece. A lot of people say it's like a Picasso.
Yeah, there's this stasher to it. It's not the house. It's the name on the house.
It's the name on the house just because it is, I mean, every architect that I've ever worked with that's had the opportunity to visit the home, they're like, thank you. Thank you for letting me see this. Thank you for letting me walk through this property. I'm like, wow.
Now I have to walk through this.
It's amazing. Yeah, anytime you want to go through it, it's really great. It is an architect that they studied in college. A lot of them wrote their papers on it because he's living in he's I don't think he's creating anything else.
How many houses has he built?
Ooh, it's not very many. As far as residential, I think it's like 40 or something like that. But he's done commercial. He's done not commercial, like mixed use libraries, museums, and stuff like that. And he's alive, so people are able to study him, and they feel like more attached to Ondo because this is somebody. It's like if Frank Lloyd Wright was living right now, people would be able to. It's still producing some stuff. Like, he's still making statements. He's still making comments. People are still able to ask him questions, even though he's built some of the most extraordinary structures in the world. So if there were architects that could ask Frank Lloyd Wright questions right now, then he would probably be the most popular architect, but he's not. Yeah. Ondo is still alive. And so people are they're like, this is some of the most amazing architecture. And he's still reachable. Even though he's kind of a recluse, from what I hear, he's still here. So a lot of architects value that.
Got it. And I think one of the things that you shared with me was that we just went through, not we, but like LA just went through like the whole Palisades fire. Yeah. And who knows what other fire is going to be happening there. Yeah. You were saying this house would do just fine.
Tsunami, fire, nothing can happen to this house. It is literally built as if it was going to hold up a high rise. Like the caissons that go down to the bedrock, they're so overbuilt. The neighbors, they're like a 20-inch diameter, 30-inch. These are like 4 foot by 4 foot, and there's 16 of them. This thing is not going anywhere. The only way you could take this property down is by like explosives. There's not an earthquake that could mess with it, not a tsunami, not a fire, nothing.
Well, I think you were sharing with me that Kanye was planning on this being his end times home.
End of days bunker.
End of days.
Yeah. Smart move. Yeah. It's literally, there's nothing that could happen to this. Not a natural disaster that we've ever encountered in this lifetime that could mess with this home. So, but all the neighbors would be gone. Look at what happened to the rest of Malibu. Yeah. There was one other concrete home where the homes on either side were burnt down, but this concrete home lasted. Now, that is like 1/8 of the strength of the Ondo, and yet that one survived. And it was all over the headlines as this concrete home is the new wave of building in Malibu in this area because it's not, you can't burn it down. Yeah. We already have the strongest one in Malibu or, in Southern California for that matter. Yeah. That, it's impermeable. There's nothing that can happen to this house.
Except Kanye.
He tried his best. We'll see what he wanted to do was remove it from its dependency on public utilities. Electricity, water, plumbing, right? Because in the end of days time or when everything is removed, you're not going to have water. You're not going to have power. So he wanted to completely, jump the gun and say, well, for heat, we have a bonfire. For water, we have the ocean, right? He put in a filtration system. Like he was ahead of his time, I mean, I hope the end of days don't happen anytime soon, but he was ready for it.
He was ready for it. So you take it down for 21 mil.
Yeah.
You put this on the Belwood app.
Mm-hmm.
So how many investors jump? Walk me through this experience, using the app, because you had this app for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
This is now your biggest project.
Mm-hmm.
So you put it on the app, easy raise.
Yeah, we raised it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, $7.5 million.
Investors saw this. I'm in. 2 weeks later, you got the
we were on
funding
Wall Street Journal. I mean, it was off to the races. We raised it really quickly, and we had.
$7.5 was a down payment.
What was that?
Was a down payment for the hard.
Yeah,
part.
exactly. So we had the Najjar family come in with the first mortgage at 18.5, and then we had to come in with the remaining funds, and then plus interest reserves and the start of construction. Mm. So we raised all of that, bought the home, and started construction. And now we're in the process of refinancing out that family. Mm-hmm. We're closing with a firm out of New York right now who gives us another 12 months worth of IR and interest reserves for our payments, because our mortgage payment right now is $300,000 a month. $300,000 a month for one property
or one mortgage.
That's not taxes and insurance either. That's just interest, right? So now we're refining out of that, getting 12 more additional months of interest reserve, so we don't have to make that payment. Mm-hmm. And then it pays for half of the remaining construction, which there's about $6.5 million left in construction, and then we'll raise the other half. But what's cool though is I met some amazing guys at the LA Tech Week where we're actually going to put the Kanye property on the chain. Mm-hmm. So we are bringing blockchain investment to Belwood, where we're actually tokenizing this, right? Where people can invest with crypto and be a part of this property. So it's membership only. It's right in the beginning. It's invite only type thing, but that's where we're headed to right now is putting it on the chain. So
is that with Matthew or is that with someone else?
That's with Matthew.
Yeah.
Smart dudes.
Really smart dude. Yeah. Someone that he's gonna be on the show soon enough, because it's crazy what's happening with putting real estate on blockchain.
Yeah. And we're going to be ahead of it. We started fractional real estate investing. There was no arrived homes. Picasso was just getting started, but that was for vacation homes. There was nobody in this space. And I bootstrapped this entire company. Mm-hmm. Okay. This was not like I had a seed round, Series A, or anything like that. This was me solving the problem of people wanting to invest in real estate that didn't have the time, money, or resources. And then arriving now to where it's one of the most popular methods of investing. Mm-hmm. So staying ahead of the curve is really important now that we've created this. And I like to say we're the pioneers of fractional real estate investments when it comes to single family homes and multifamily. We started this. Mm-hmm. Now we have to keep up with the momentum and implement blockchain, because that's where everything's going right now.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We will have pioneered the fractional real estate investment, democratized it, and then implemented blockchain.
Yeah, Matthew Hintz, again, he'll be on the show soon enough, and he's the one that's been pushing this of allowing anyone to invest in real estate. You don't have to be an accredited investor. As long as you're interested in investing in real estate, you don't have to invest in the whole thing. You can just invest in a piece of it.
Yep.
You've already been doing it.
Yep.
He's been doing it on the blockchain.
Yep.
Nowhere near this scale.
Yep.
And this is the perfect
merge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. This will be the number one platform for investing in real estate in the world. Yeah. I strongly feel that way, because it's the masses that we're dealing with. It's not just the people with a ton of money that have this.
BlackRock and Vanguard and teachers unions.
Exactly.
Anybody can do this.
Anybody can do this. And yes, there's going to be that attraction for some of these institutional funds and big time investment groups. Yes, they're going to want to participate, But that's not our focus. Our focus is to bring this to the world, the people that are watching HGTV, elbowing their spouse saying, hey, honey, I want to do that. And then the spouse can say, yeah, let's call Belwood. That's a Belwood home. Versus, yeah, I would too. You know, maybe one day. Maybe one day.
So I want to talk about why you want to do this. But before I do that, where are we right now with Kanye's house? So you bought it for 21.
Yeah.
Put money into it. How much are you into it at the moment? It's 300,000. A lot of freaking money.
Man, it's rough. Yeah. So we're into it right now. My payoff for the first is 20 million. I'm right at about 28 million.
So you're 28 into this. Mm-hmm. And then this is obviously a project. To have 12 months of reserves ready tells me it's going to be another 12 months until it's ready.
Oh, yeah, 10 months.
10 months.
We already have buyers lined up.
Okay.
So we have people that are interested. I was just told not too long ago that Adam Levine is interested in it. We have some Saudi royal families that are interested in it. Mm-hmm. We have a Russian group, a finance group that are interested in it. They just don't want to pick up anything that's like halfway done.
Right.
I did have a buyer. Well, called himself a buyer. He was really a straw buyer. Just didn't. He was kind of looking for some publicity, and but anyways, gave some fake financials to us. We finally vetted him, and he took up about 2 months of our time, honestly. But he was going to buy it from us. You know, we were going to make a quick, 20% ROI in a few months and walk away from it. But that never came to fruition. So we just said, hey, we're not even going to entertain this anymore. Yeah. We're just going to finish it ourselves.
So you're into it right now for 28.
So we have 28 raised. Mm-hmm. So we raised about 7.5 million. We've deployed 2.5 to construction and about, I think we're about 2.5 million in payments. Mm-hmm. So we've raised that much debt to it.
Yeah.
It's not all deployed though.
But when it's all said and done, what will we be into it for?
We'll be into it less than 35.
Less than 35.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is you got a couple people that are interested. Yeah. What is the planned?
55 to 57.
We're looking at 20 million delta. Yes. Like a $20 million spread.
Yes.
I don't hear a lot of that in the houses.
No. Yeah. Well, see, that's all deals are made in the acquisition, right? That's where it was. And this was such an aggressive purchase.
Yes.
Yes, we were able to do that. So, that's, and I wouldn't have bought it if there wasn't that huge aggressive, margin right there, because there's nothing that I would hate more than to sit on a home that I can't sell and still pay $300,000 a month on a mortgage.
Sure.
That would be rough, right?
Yeah. So in this interesting market, to still be able to move it is at that margin is absolutely unbelievable. So I see here deeds.ai. That's
Smart Deeds.
Smart Deeds.
Yeah.
So what's Smart Deeds?
Smart Deeds is Matt Hint's his company. Yeah.
So I didn't know he renamed it to Smart Deeds. We were looking at something else.
Yeah. Soul's Lot.
Yeah.
So this is where we are merging right now to create this method of investing. So we just launched it yesterday. We have like the first round of invite-only investors that are already part. We already had 43, and we just launched it last night.
Yeah.
So this is the inception of it right now. This is where it begins. This is it.
And we'd be remiss to not mention how we all got connected.
Yes.
Right. So Vac Sambath with Bestia or Bestia.ai. LA Tech Week is this just kind of crazy thing.
Yes.
Still can't really wrap my head around what really LA Tech Week is. But Vac put an event together, and he honored myself, he honored you, and he honored Matthew Hintz. Like, hey, we're going to AI real estate. Let's get 3 thought leaders in here, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's just talk about it. And so that's how I met you. I was already working with Matt before, and now you guys are working together. So just shout out to Vac for creating this opportunity. Yeah. And now you're partnering with Matthew. That's freaking awesome.
And Vac, so this is, he's creating this amazing platform for inventory, right? So, if we're scaling with the implementation of blockchain and, scaling our investors, we have to have inventory, right? Mm-hmm. And so everybody's, implementing AI right now with sourcing inventory. And we have to stay ahead. Mm-hmm. The whole, having a boiler room with a bunch of sales guys in there is great. That is now, those are now underwriters. That is the last step. So the AI brings that product all the way up to where you have to implement a human. Mm-hmm. And that's where we have to have those guys, those underwriters that say, yep, everything is good, because ultimately real estate is real. You can't take it the full stretch and not have somebody walk that property, okay? Because AI can bring it all the way to the point where it's like, okay, the numbers make sense, it's in the right neighborhood, it's not next to commercial, so on and so forth. It checks all these boxes. But what AI cannot do is determine whether or not there was a water leak underneath that house that was underneath one of the footings, and now that house leans 1 inch slope from the front to the back. And if you take a marble, it slides all the way down. There's no way to detect that unless you get somebody, a contractor there, to walk the property and confirm all of the numbers that AI is provided, right? So Bestia can bring it all the way up to the finish line. Then it's a much more affordable process to just have somebody take it right across, that one human, rather than human all the way along the process.
Exactly, yeah. And Vac is one of the smartest guys.
He's so smart, yeah.
Yeah, when I met with, when we were talking, I was like, you look at the world in a completely different lens. Yeah. So, all right. You're clearly passionate about democratizing real estate investing.
Yes.
Why are you so passionate about democratizing real estate investing?
Because I see, well, one, I want legacy. I do want legacy. Okay. I want to leave the world a better place than when I came, right? And so that's really, really a strong sentiment that I feel. In doing so, I need to create something that changes the world and makes it a better place. And this happened to fall on my plate. Like I didn't grow up saying, I want to flip houses. I want to create this democratization of real estate investing. I want to do this. No, it was a perfect set of circumstances that brought it to this point right now, where I'm sitting across from you and there's thousands of people listening to us. Like there's a reason for that, right? And I have a lot of faith in that. And so with that being said, I'm going to understand the opportunity that's been presented to me and work my hardest to bring it to fruition, which is going to change the world. It's going to bring power back to the people to invest in real estate. Again, I always fall back on, this is the most popular investment in the world. Yes, crypto is amazing, right? There's a lot of fun things out there, but it's a flash in the pan compared to real estate. Real estate's been number one since day one. This is where our families are raised. This is where our crops are grown. This is where our businesses are. Everybody is interested. Even when I spent some time in Africa doing some mission work, people valued the land that they were on. Even though they would be nomadic, they would still set up an area and it would have certain value to them.
Home.
It's home. And so bringing this opportunity of democratizing the investment aspect of it is absolutely something that's revolutionizing the investment world. And so that's my whole, to change the world and to make it a better spot.
So where do you see this going? Because you said this is going to be like the place to invest.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you see this 3 years from now?
So, for a long time, I wanted to go IPO, right? Ring that bell and, be on the markets. But with blockchain, the opportunity to stay private is much more attractive, right? Being able to really steer this in the direction that we want it to go. Last thing we want is to merge with a big corporation that turns it into an insurance company or says, oh, you have a portfolio of thousands of people, we're going to start marketing them something else, right? So when we can guide this to what we want it to be, that's really what our goal is to maintain that vision and that clarity. Yeah. So in 3 years, I see this as a household name. Remember, I was telling you ubiquitous with
Zillow,
or just real estate in general, right? This is a Belwood home.
Yeah.
You look at a rundown property. Oh, that's a Belwood home. Put it in the app. Okay, you put it in the app. Now you're a part of it. Whether or not we're able to buy it, but if we are able to buy it, not only were you able to make some money off of finding it, but now you're able to invest in it, improve the community, put a new family there, like overall improvement, rather than the new car smell, which people like with new houses. They want that new car smell. They want the new house smell. But these new cars, these new houses are stacked up next to each other, built with much less quality material in areas that are less attractive than really focusing on what we have in our own communities right now, taking what we have in these mature neighborhoods with quarter-acre lots and fruit trees and neighbors that have been there and established this community, rather than focusing on those and having a process for improving the community from within. These developers are just building out in prairie lands and in much less attractive areas so people can have that new car smell. We can create that within our own communities with Belwood. So it's environmental impact, it's a financial impact, it's a quality of living impact. So many positive things can be found through the democratization of real estate in the Belwood app.
So if someone we're listening to this and they want to get involved, want to work with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
So the best way would be to download the Belwood Investor app, and Belwood with one L. And you go on our website, check us out, BelwoodInvestments.com. And we encourage everybody to get educated in real estate. We provide access to Zillow. When we have an opportunity on the app, one of our first things that we offer is the link. Check out the property yourself. Look at the comps yourself. Don't just take our word for it. Do some homework. That way you're educating yourself in real estate, because it's not just about making money. It's about education. So people can eventually invest, if they want, by themselves. We've had a tremendous amount of investors start investing with Belwood and then go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And I love that. They're able to learn from us and make money.
Yeah. So, and just to tie in that whole loop together, right? Because the promise was the secret to how you got 157 million assets under management. Use the app to find your investors.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're sourcing or not sourcing, or you're sourcing some. You're also funding your deals. You're posting your deals on the app. Yeah. Who wants to invest? And you've got this whole ecosystem. And the thing that's still the funniest to me is the fact that you're using it on your contractors to geofence them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you got one app that basically encapsulates everything you're doing in your business.
Yes.
Which is absolutely remarkable. I haven't heard a lot of people doing it. Like we have these ideas, we want to do this and that, but you actually house it all in one app.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So from the realtor, contractor, investor, all in one app. Yeah.
That's absolutely remarkable. And then are there any last thoughts as we're wrapping up that you'd like to leave all the listeners with?
So I would say that, if real estate is something that you are interested in and something that you've always wanted to participate in, and are just unsure, Belwood is the answer to bringing it to you in an affordable and transparent way. So we want this to be a safe process. We want it to be a successful process. And our process of vetting these properties and vetting these contractors is thorough. And so, if this is something that you've wanted to do, then download the Belwood app and let's get going.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate it. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
For being on the show. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys
Shout
next
out
time.
to Steve Trang. Jump on the Steve Trang. Disruptors.